Hey my Sky Savers, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Kim and this is World of Sky, a world for women and moms to talk all things money. Saving money, making money, and managing your money. And today we are talking about credit. Specifically, we're talking about credit scores. This video is a part of a series and this is part 2. So if you haven't watched part 1, you may want to go back and do that. We cover all things kind of credit 101. We talk about credit bureaus. I tell you where you can get a free credit report from and discuss quite a bit of other information that is pertinent to credit. So if you haven't seen that one, you may want to go check it out. Before we jump into this video, please make sure that you have subscribed to my channel if you have not done so already. Trust me, girl, your purse, your wallet, and your bank account will thank you. Also, for this series, this credit series, make sure that you hit the little notification bell so that you are alerted when I drop a new video that is related to this credit series. So this is the number that everybody's always talking about. What's my credit score? Creditors want to know what's your score. You need to know what's your score. So let's dig deep. Let's talk about what's included in your score and what impacts it. So first things first, right? What is a credit score? It's a 3-digit number that represents your credit risk and the likelihood that you will pay back money that you've already borrowed and that you will pay that money back on time. Okay? Your credit score is determined by the data that is included on your credit report. Go back and watch part 1 if you're not familiar with the actual credit report and how that information is relayed to the different credit bureaus. Okay, but your score is calculated by each one of the 3 different credit bureaus. So we have Equifax, we have TransUnion, and Experian. Each credit bureau kind of uses a different model in order to determine your credit score. So that is why your credit score from each credit bureau can vary. It's very unlikely that each credit bureau is reporting the exact same credit score for you. And that is because their calculation is different. It also could be because some of your creditors are reporting to certain credit bureaus, but not all 3 of them. So the data that they have may not be exactly the same at each credit bureau. There are several different models used to determine your credit score here in the US, but the 2 main ones are your FICO score and a VantageScore. We will talk about the ranges for both of those. Most creditors prefer and they use the FICO score, so that's what we're going to focus on in this video. So the range for the FICO score, you can range anywhere from a 300 to 850. Okay, so that's the range. And the good range is from 670 to 739. From 300 to 579, that is considered poor. 580 to 669 is fair. 670 to 739, like I said, is good. And according to Experian, 67% of Americans have good or better FICO score. 740 to 799 is very good, and 800 to 850 is exceptional. So each credit bureau will take the data that is on your credit report and create a number that is somewhere within this range. Don't forget I said each credit bureau can give you a different score because the information that they have could be different, and also they use slightly different scoring methods. So because your scores can be different with each bureau, you're going to want to pull your score for all 3 bureaus. Because every lender or creditor could use a different bureau. You know, they can pull a different credit score. And so you want to know where you stand. That way you can make sure that you're getting the best rates possible. If you are enjoying this video thus far and you found something helpful, you found some value in this video, please make sure that you give the video a thumbs up. It really does help me out. Now let's talk about VantageScores. It's a different model and it uses different ranges. So for a VantageScore, this is how things break down. 300 to 499 is very poor. 500 to 600 is poor. 601 to 660 is fair. 661 to 780 is good. And 781 to 850 is excellent. Okay, so you can see that their ranges are a little bit different from the FICO score. Like I said before, a FICO score is the preferred method for most creditors or lenders. So that is the one we're going to focus on. That is the number that I suggest that you reference most often when you're trying to put together a plan to increase your FICO score. Now let's talk about what impacts and affects your FICO score. And we'll talk about the different categories and how heavily weighted they are in the calculation. So the biggest category is your payment history, okay? And that accounts for 35% of your FICO score. So they want to know, and they're reporting, have you made your payments on time? Were your payments late? Did you miss your payments altogether? That matters. that really matters when it comes to your FICO score. The next category is credit usage, or the amount owed. And that accounts for 30% of your FICO score. So this is things like how many of your accounts have balances, how much do you owe, and what is the portion of your credit limit that you are using on your revolving accounts. Hopefully you know what revolving accounts are. We discussed that in part 1, but most often it's like your credit cards. So when it comes to your revolving credit and credit cards, they are looking at your credit card utilization. And credit card utilization compares your credit card balance to your credit card limit. So for example, if you have a credit card and the credit limit on that card is $1,000 and you've charged up a few things and your balance is $200, you have a utilization rate of 20%. How you calculate that is that you take your account balance, so in this example, $200, you divide it by your credit limit. In this example, it's $1,000. Okay, and then you take the number that you get from that and you multiply it by 100. That is going to give you a percentage of usage. That is called your credit card utilization. Okay, so being at 20%, that's good. Let's take it a little bit further. Let's say you still have that same credit card. It's still a $1,000 limit, but you've made purchases up to $800. Your credit card utilization now is 80%. That's not so good, okay? The standard recommendation is to keep your credit card utilization lower than 30%, but the lower the better. You don't want to be like trending right up to that 30%, okay? Those individuals that have the best credit typically have a utilization rate that's in the single digits, just to give you a benchmark. The next category is the length of your credit history, and this accounts for 15% of your credit score. It's the average age of all your credit accounts, okay? And that includes your oldest account as well as your newest account. The next category is the type of accounts that you have in your credit, and that accounts for 10%. So this is also referred to sometimes as like your credit mix, okay? So they want to look at, do you have installment credit? Those are things like your student loans, your car payment, a mortgage. Do you have revolving credit? Those are your credit cards. Showing that you can manage both type of accounts, both installment and revolving, responsibly generally will help you out. And the last piece of the pie when it comes to calculating your FICO score is your recent activity, and that accounts for 10%. And this considers if you recently applied or opened any new accounts. Okay, so here's the whole pie. Here's everything that goes into calculating your credit score. Knowing this information is critical. It's so critical in managing your credit effectively. So make sure you take a screenshot of this so you understand all of the categories that go into calculating your credit score and what weight or percentage they have. So those are the things that are included in your credit score. These are the things that are not included in your credit score. They do not impact, they do not affect your credit score. Your race, your color, your religion, your national origin, your sex, or your marital status. Also, your age is not included. Your salary or your occupation, your title, your employer, not included in your credit score. Where you live, they don't include that. Also, soft inquiries are not included in your credit score. So that last category that we talked about recent activity that was worth 10%, and I told you that it's about applying for new accounts, those are considered hard inquiries on your credit report, and that's why they will affect 10% of your credit score. Soft inquiries, on the other hand, are inquiries made by companies that are like trying to offer you promotions. Sometimes, if they want to increase your credit limit, but you didn't initiate it, they will do a soft inquiry. Okay, so any kind of company that you already have an account with and they kind of want to check in and see where you're at now to offer you more or make changes, they may do some soft inquiries. Also, when you check your own credit report and your own credit score, those are considered soft inquiries as well. They do not impact your FICO score, which is good. So you can stay informed and know what your credit score is. So now that you know what goes into your credit score, okay, let's talk about how having a good credit score versus having a poor credit score can impact you in real life. So not only can it be the difference in you getting approved or denied, okay, it can also impact how much you have to pay in interest and fees, so how much do you have to pay as a result of your credit. So the first step with a lender is, am I approved or am I denied? If you are denied, you have some work to do, and we'll talk about that in the next video, some tips on how to build your credit and also some tips on how to repair your credit and what you should focus on. If you get approved, so many people are like, yay, I got approved. And that is a good thing. If you get approved, of course, that's a good thing. But it doesn't stop there. The next question you have to ask is, how much is this approval going to cost me? So let's do an example. So Experian says a home that is $250,000 for 30 years, okay? You want to buy a house, that's the cost, and that is the term of the mortgage. Person A has a FICO score of 670, and person B has a FICO score of 720. The difference that the person A would pay over person B every single month is $72. And you're thinking, well, Kim, it's $72. That's not that much a month. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because over the life of the loan, that is a $26,071 difference. You hear me? $26,000, girl. That's a huge difference. Same house, okay? Same house, $250,000. Same terms, 30 years. But because that person A has a lower credit score, it's going to cost them $26,000 more for the same thing. Okay, I say all this to say that your score matters, okay? It matters not only for the approval process, but it matters for how much you'll pay long term too. Okay, so that's all the information to share about credit scores, how they work, what's included. Now you're like, what am I supposed to do with this information? If you haven't done so already, you need to go and pull your credit reports from each of the 3 credit bureaus. So we have Equifax, we have TransUnion, and Experian. It's free to do once a year, okay? So because it's free, it's for you, okay? It's not going to cost you anything to pull it at least once a year. So make sure that you're pulling your credit report every single year, okay? It's not an option, you guys. It's not an option. You need to pull your credit report every single year. To make it easier to remember to pull your credit report, you can tie it to an important date. So you can either like pull your credit report every January 1st or 2nd, or you can pull it every single year on your birth date. A date that you're going to remember, use that date, pull your credit report at that time every single year. You can pull a free credit report at annualcreditreport.com right here. I will also leave the link for you in the description box below. If you want to know in more detail what you need to look for when you actually pull your credit report, go back and watch part 1, okay? I told you we talked about a lot of stuff in part 1 if you haven't watched it. If you've already watched it, then you know what you need to look for when you pull your credit report. If you don't know, go back and watch that video. It will break it down in more detail on what you need to look out for, okay? So that's your homework. Go pull your credit report, pull your scores, see where you're at, see where you fall within that range of scores that I gave you earlier. Okay, that is it for now. That's it for this video. That's all things FICO scores, credit scores. In the next video, we'll be talking about how to build credit with credit cards. So if you don't have credit, you're new to credit, you have a little bit of credit, that video may be for you. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and that you hit the little notification bell so you know when the next video drops for this credit series. That is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next video. Happy saving!